Hey guys, it's Drea. So today I have for you another palette tag. This was created by Kaylee Beauté. I think that's how you say her name. I will link her channel below. But the reason I'm doing it is because I saw my friend Alex from One Beauty Addict do it, and I was like, oh, that is a lot of fun. I had never seen it before. I don't know why. Why has this tag been kept secret from me? I have no idea. Anyway, I saw it done by Alex and I was like, oh yes, I have to get into this because it's so much fun. So basically this is just about eyeshadow palettes, why you like them, why you don't like them, all that kind of stuff. So Kaylee created this tag for people to do and I am now doing it. Is that enough of an explanation? I think so. Okay, let's just go right into this. The first question is your first palette, and honestly I couldn't exactly remember what my first palette is. I think it was this one, but I'm not 100% sure. Keep in mind, I never ever used to buy eyeshadow palettes for the longest time. It was only like maybe 3 years ago that I even bought an eyeshadow palette. Before that, I would only just use quads from the drugstore. And of course, you guys know my makeup addiction has blown up in the last 3 years. But I think the very first palette I ever bought was the Naked palette. And just from hearing about it on YouTube, the hype around it, all that kind of stuff, mine looks absolutely pristine though. Like, I barely ever use this. It's a great palette. It's a great basic palette. Like, it's really, really nice, but I don't use it ever. And that's so stupid because there are so many people that do use it, love it, and would like to have one for themselves. But yeah, I don't get inspired by this anymore. I think it's a really good beginner's palette. If you're just getting into makeup and eyeshadow, it's like the perfect neutral palette. That's why it got so much hype. But for me, it's just like, if I'm gonna wear eyeshadow, I want to do something exciting and fun, something that inspires me, something that makes me excited, and this doesn't do that anymore. The next question is your most recent purchase, and that is easy. That is the NARS Wanted palette. I have really gotten into NARS eyeshadow palettes this year. You'll see another one coming up, but this one is their most recent. I believe it's still available. Of course, I'll link to all products I can find below, as long as they're not limited edition and unavailable, but this is what it looks like. It's so super stunning if you like pinky rosy tones. And even though there's a lot of neutral going on in here, there's a lot of specialness going on in here too, because all of these metallics, they're not your typical metallics. This one here is kind of a duochrome. This one here is mostly all glitter. This one is a super intense greeny taupe, which is so cool. Look at that. There's something a little bit different about each of these things, and sometimes you can look at a palette and think it looks like something you've seen before, but really the formula, the way it's put together, the finishes can really make a difference in how that palette behaves compared to other things. There's a lot of glitteriness going on in this palette, even though the mattes are super great too. They're like super pigmented, blendable, like really easy to work with. It's actually a really special palette. It's more special than I thought it was going to be. So the next question is one that you regret missing out on. And honestly, I cannot think of an answer to this one because normally if I want a palette, I will get it. I will run around and get it. I will find a way to get it. And there's not a whole lot of limited edition things that, like if I want something limited edition, I will usually buy it right away because I know I need that. But I can't really think of anything. The only thing that I really kept missing out on, but I did eventually get it, was this from ColourPop. This is the, it's not, I don't know why they have Cute AF on the front. That's not what it's called. It's called the Yes Please palette. But that's what it looks like. And honestly, I haven't even used this yet. I just have so much eyeshadow that I've been trying to get through, and I have limited time lately because of my job, so I haven't been able to play with it as much as I would normally like to. And so I haven't even been able to use this yet. So I can't even tell you if it's any good. But that was really the only one that like I kept trying to get, and then, you know, it took a long time, but eventually I have it now. And everything else, there's nothing else I can think of. The only exception I would say is that I've never tried a Viseart palette before, and I would like to try their formula, but I don't get excited over the way they look. So I know like some people don't care about packaging, but I kind of have to admit to myself that I do, and it makes a difference to me and whether I want a palette or not, which is kind of stupid, but that's the way I am. So let's just all accept it. Next question is one that makes you happy to look at. I actually have two. Immediately thought of this. This is the Kat Von D Me Vida Loca palette. This was limited edition from holiday 2015. Not only is it like absolutely stunningly beautiful like on the front, but the actual palette itself is so pleasing to the eye. Like the colors are so gorgeous, the way they're arranged is so gorgeous. I just love this palette so much, and I'm so glad I bought it back when I did, because a lot of people you know, a lot of people regret missing out on it, and that just goes to show you that like sometimes limited edition is like you gotta get it when the getting's good, because not everything comes back, contrary to, you know, a lot of things that have been happening lately where things just keep coming back. But yeah, I love looking at that palette, and it does inspire me a lot. And a very recent purchase that I love looking at is this one, because it's so cute. This is the ColourPop My Little Pony palette. And so it has all the little ponies, the original ones back from the 80s and 90s, I guess, too. And then like everything about this palette is great. The packaging everywhere is amazing. And then the actual eyeshadows themselves are so beautiful. They have such cool finishes, like this purple and then this silver below it. The silver is actually like a minty silver, which is very interesting. I should have taken these other swatches off first. But like, I really love the colors in here. They're so cool. They're very unique. They're not like your everyday palette. Obviously, this is going to be for somebody who isn't afraid to use color. But I really like ColourPop pressed eyeshadows lately. I've really been getting into them. I find them a lot of fun and really good quality. Next question is one you changed your mind about. And I really struggled with this because normally it takes me, you know, a couple uses to form an opinion on an eyeshadow palette, and quality doesn't really change. Maybe my inspiration level changes, but once I decide something about a palette, that's what I've decided. You know, I don't really change my mind about it. So the only thing I could really think of is this. This is the Naked 2 palette. When I first got it, I did like it, but I really, again, only used it a handful of times before putting it away because it just bores me to death now. And I think that's the only thing I can kind of put in this category. I'm just really bored of this now, and in that sense I did kind of change my mind a little bit. And again, this is just totally personal preference. There is not anything wrong with this palette. Great quality, beautiful eyeshadows. If that's what you want to do on the daily, beautiful, natural, earthy, like neutral looks, that is great. These are great palettes, but for me, I like to have at least a little bit of color, a little bit of excitement, so that one just bores me. The next question is one that surprised you. I probably have a couple that, you know, surprised me over time with how much I enjoyed them, but this one, I think, just because of the price point and how amazing it is, really surprised me the most. Talked about this a lot. This is the BH Cosmetics, a 28 color eyeshadow palette, the Foil Eyes. The quality of the packaging is not great because it broke, but these eyeshadows, if you repackage this in NARS packaging, nobody would know the difference. If you repackage this as Urban Decay, nobody would know the difference. Nobody would call you out on it. It would absolutely be, oh yeah, that is, you know, quality, high-end stuff. But this was like, in Winners it was $14.99. On their website, it's always on sale for less than $10. It is freaking incredible, this palette. I'm going to continue screaming it from the rooftops because everybody who loves color needs this. You know, I always swatch it a couple times just to give you guys an idea. Like, look at this. When do you ever see foil eyeshadow palettes, 28 of them, this quality for that price? You never, ever see it. But the thing I like about this too is even though it screams color because of everything going on in the middle, if you go like this, what you have is just a beautiful neutral palette. You know, like, don't be intimidated by the color. You could also have all of your foil neutrals right there, and it's just amazing. Everybody needs this palette. So the next one is one that inspires you the most. Absolutely, without a question, it's back to this one, the Me Vida Loca palette. But I'll talk about another one too, just because I don't want to just mention this over and over. Because I'm a color person, and I've discovered that about myself really only over the last like year and a half, that I love color eyeshadow more than anything else. This inspires me because there's so much going on in here. The layout of it, just lends itself to creativity. And I love using it. It's also easy to use, which I think that's a big part of it, because if a palette is difficult to use, you don't want to reach for it and it's not going to inspire you. And this one too, not only did this surprise me this year, but it also inspires me a lot. This is the Sephora Pro Editorial Palette. I believe it's still available. I mean, it says it's limited edition, but I've seen them pop up in stores over and over and online. So who knows, if you can get it, get it. But again, all the color going on in here, there's lots of colorful mattes, which is difficult to do sometimes. Like, colorful foil eyeshadows I think is way more easy to get right than colorful mattes, and this one has them in spades. And then everything on top here is like gorgeous foil glitter, and then down here you also have some foil and glitter and duochrome shades. There's so much going on in here. Again, the only thing missing really is like your typical transition neutrals, but you don't need that. Like, most people don't need that. If you have as many palettes as somebody who's going to do an eyeshadow palette tag, you do not need to have neutrals in every palette. You have it somewhere you can use. Next question is one on your wish list. Definitely is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. Like I said before, normally I will run out and buy anything that I want when it comes to eyeshadow. I don't have a lot of self-control when it comes to that, but because it's around Christmas time right now and my birthday just passed and I haven't seen my parents since then, or my sister or anything, I did put that on my wish list, and who knows, if I don't get it, that's totally fine, but it's on there, and so I haven't bought it myself yet, but I really want that because it looks gorgeous. And then very last question is your no fail palette. So I take that to mean something you can just reach for and you know you're going to get an amazing look out of it every time you reach for it. Probably something that you're going to reach for when you're in a rush because you don't have time and you just want to make sure you're going to look good. And I have two. Definitely this one for sure, the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. Because I have used this so much over the last year, this is in my makeup use up for 2017, and you can see like I've hit pan on quite a few shades in there. I've just gotten to know this palette so well this year that I know I can use it easily without worrying about how things are going to turn out. It might not be that way for a lot of people sometimes, just because of the reds and how pigmented they are and how you kind of need to get to know them a little bit first, but over time it definitely becomes, you know, so simple and easy to use because they're such great quality. They blend themselves. They're very cohesive. But one thing that I've really gotten to enjoy this year is this. This is the NARS Loaded eyeshadow palette. This was limited edition, came out in the spring. I don't know if you can still get it, but I am so glad I bought this because this is a neutral palette, and so therefore it is definitely a no-fail palette. You're not going to do anything crazy and end up looking weird when you leave the house. But at the same time, these eyeshadows are such amazing quality, and again, they blend themselves that you know you're not going to screw anything up. And the mattes, like, this is the thing about these NARS palettes. They're really cool to play with. They have some interesting things going on in the metallic areas, but the mattes are just your perfect standbys. Like, you know, you go to this matte and it's going to be beautiful and you're not gonna have to work with it. You're not gonna have to like spend forever building it up, but yet again, it's not gonna be too much. They're just perfect. And then also this palette has so much going for it for lid shades. Like these two in particular up here, this kind of taupe and then this kind of brown, they're so gorgeous. And how many times can I say gorgeous in one video, right? But look at those. Like, you put that on your lid and it's just going to be stunning. So I have really appreciated this palette over the last few months. I wish it was permanent, but I don't think it is. So that is it for this eyeshadow palette tag. Thank you to Kaylee for creating it. I will tag a few people down in the down bar below, but I don't know who has done it. Maybe I should go look it up. But anyway, I will tag a few people. But if you have a channel or you have an Instagram or whatever, or you have a Twitter, who cares? You can do a tag wherever. Definitely do it because it's a lot of fun to kind of think about these things. That's the thing about these videos, is it really gets you thinking, and I feel like sometimes these tags can really inspire you to pull out things that maybe you forgot about, or give things a second chance or whatever, or maybe even decide that you need to declutter some things out of your collection. But that's it for today. So if you're new around here, I'd love to see you in the future. If you want to subscribe, I put up new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're speaking kindly to yourself and loving yourself. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.